Game On continues, and it's time now to look at what's been happening locally in the way of teams getting ready for pre-season. But before we get started with that, with Jerry Skosana, of course, joining me now. Jerry, let's talk about the untimely passing of a great man in South African football, Stanley Skinema.
Thanks, Cesar. Yeah, to be honest, because if ubuka nje umlando webhola la eMzansi, he started being a player, and he's also somebody whom Rob shoulders know Kaizer Mutawong to start Kaizer Chiefs. So when he goes to Sundowns, that's where Sonke siqala ukumati khona, to be honest. That was a good thing. And also, for me, there was a time when I was supposed to move from Pirates to Chiefs. He was the one behind that deal, but it just fell through and I couldn't make it. But but not somebody one coach. A person that when he's serious, don't get closer. Yeah. But he's more like a person that always wants to have people around him laughing and being happy. And that's one thing, Jay. He was a loving person to all the players that he coached before.
So when any youngsters hear many of the football lovers saying shoeshine and piano, he's the man that coined that phrase, of course, as we keep things moving. And talk about pre-season now. Interesting times and interesting to where we are now as South African football. Pre-season, you got your big three, Kaizer Chiefs, Sundowns, Pirates, overseas, out in Europe. You've also got a team from overseas, Osberg, coming to South Africa to play against TS Galaxy, including Yanga from Tanzania as well. They'll also be here in South Africa playing a few of the teams. It's interesting that we've gotten to a point where pre-season sees teams preparing very well, going very far to prepare, but also against teams from outside of the country.
Yeah, it's a good thing, especially if you look at TS Galaxy. I mean, for them to have Oxberg coming over in South Africa to prepare, we're only looking at the well-resourced clubs in terms of Sundowns, Pirates, Chiefs going overseas. Yeah. But if TS Galaxy is also having a team from overseas to come and play, they will also be playing a Yanga, from Tanzania, and they'll also be playing a team from Swaziland in Babane Swallows. So it's a good thing not to look only at the three big clubs, also other teams. What is their preparation so that we know what to expect season is a good PSL. So I think for me, the preseason that is happening to TS Galaxy, it's something that we know it's happening overseas to the three big clubs.
Now, for Imamadi Sundowns, I think coach one. So someone can want to see how things are going to be with the new coaches, not really new coaches, but for Upra Steve coming back especially, and the changes maybe tactically for one. Out abroad, they started off with a loss to a German third division side. Can we read too much into all of this, Kwamanje, or is it just pre-season?
I think it's a pressure. It's a pressure that will go to the coaches and also the change in technical team. Remember, Guti, what Rulani left with at Sundowns, it's something people would say, we're not going to get it back. So for me, it goes back to say Rulani was the master in Sundowns. Yes, he got it from Pitso Musimane, and there was continuity. So now they are like overseas, and then they've lost 2 games already, in the preseason. And it's ringing some alarms like Mamelodi, especially the supporters.
You think so?
It's a worrying factor.
About lose the match, but something like preseason, as long as bad,
we look at all 3 teams, and now you've got Orlando Pirates. They played their preseason, they haven't had a loss. I mean, they drew with the Plymouth Argyle, Wayne Rooney's team. They beat Sevilla in Sevilla, and then they played
1-1.
Granada, 1-1. And those are the big clubs in Spain. So now if you look at Sundowns losing in Germany to a 3rd tier, it's not good. But what I like again with this preseason, Kaizer Chiefs, the way they train, I like the mountain running. I mean, it shows that the coach wants to have a stronger team. I mean, that's the most important thing. They haven't given us any feedback about the results, the games they've played. I think they're still playing amongst each other training. But what they are doing in terms of the training, to me, it says a lot.
Kumbuzi the African Wonders sector.
Yeah,
So under Henry Trell and so on.
Ngiyakhumbula must the three mosquitoes. Yeah, uVete, uZuma.
No, Chiefs.
Khona lo munye umfana lo.
Chiefs, but you like escapes me now.
The three Nami was also a striker with me. Hey, ngiyamkhohlwa man. Kuthi nje nayo he was naughty, but it's okay. It's one thing that he be right.
Yeah, so pre-season, of course, means things are very interesting for the time being here in South African football. So Kuluma next week's board with Namanyama team ends in as far as pre-season. And thank you so much to Jace Kusana, of course, as we move on to the next segment where we'll have a special guest joining us. That, of course, is a Hollywood Best Ambassador in Brian Baloyi.